All right, and with that, we come to the final panel discussion of the day. Beyond the last leg of the entire conference for the day as such, and the topic has actually got to do with how retail spaces are transforming into consumer hubs. Indeed, right? We also spoke about creating that experience for our consumers, and right now it's all about needing a rebrand, right? Retail places are retail, of course, but they must now also be leisure, community, amenity, civic, public realm, health and well-being environment as well. And that's the topic for discussion. And we have fantastic speakers and leaders who will be joining us on stage for the final panel discussion for day one of MAPIC India 2022. So interestingly, while repurposing as such exists in the retail space, and it might bring in other forms of retail and leisure or uses such as offices, medical, urban logistics, the intention is to make it work for sustainability for the future. So keeping that in mind, let's go ahead and once again invite Mr. Gautam Saraf back on stage because he will be moderating the session. Thank you, Mr. Saraf. Please join us. And let me invite the speakers on the stage very quickly. We have with us Mr. Harsh Bansal, the co-founder for Unity Group and Vegas Mall. Joining them, we have Rajneesh Mahajan, CEO for Inorbit Mall. We have Tushar Wade, President, Major Brands. We also have Mr. Vasco Santos, who's a Global Leasing Director for Inca Centers. Fantastic set of speakers and leaders on the stage. That's our final panel discussion. I will hand it over to Mr. Saraf to take it over from here.
Thank you. Just as a quick introduction, I'm Gautam Saraf. I run the Mumbai business for Cushman & Wakefield and certain new initiatives like retail, industrial, logistics, data centers, and agency leasing. I'm privileged and honored to be hosting this power panel today. We have quite an interesting topic from a retailment perspective, that how retail spaces are transforming into consumer hubs. Now, we believe that retail came out of its darkest days post-pandemic. It was a bounce back which will be remembered in the history of retail real estate. Pre-pandemic, online retailing was supposedly eating into offline retailing. The market share was depreciating. However, the recent data points, which is also part of the report that we just launched, shows the rental numbers rising, footfalls increasing, and most categories reporting robust sales better than 2019 levels too. Online retailing, the digital world, is also grappling for space because the shelf life and the durability of the brand is higher recalled in the physical retail space. With that in mind, and without further ado, I would like to launch the question with Tushar, who's been a veteran from a offline retail perspective, known as the brick and mortar guy, who had a very successful launch recently. I'm sure the audience would like to know about the Victoria's Secret's launch in Palladium. And how do you do it? And what's your modus operandi which makes you so successful in the brands that you've been bringing into the country?
Thank you for the introduction. I would just like to clarify one thing. We have just changed our company name from Major Brands to Apparel Group India. So I'm still the president. I have not been changed. I'm still there. And the other thing, I feel like I'm on Shark Tank because I'm the only retailer with 3 landlords. So it looks very scary to me. But on the retail front, I'm a firm believer that it's good to have everything is ending, retail stores will get over, everything will finish, e-commerce has come in. I think both of them will survive. There are 2 different set of customers for online and offline. I can tell you from our experience, yes, the retail stores were closed during COVID, but we were able to catch up with our sales with online. What we did online was unbelievable. And we realized that both are here to survive. But one thing that we are seeing, the customers online are very different from the customers coming in the store. And one thing I can tell you about retail stores is, I can give you the experience in the store. I can talk to you. I know I can play the music. I can offer you a service. When it comes to online, I don't know where you are, what are you buying at that time, what mood you are in, you're buying at 2 a.m. It's very difficult to control the environment that you're buying at. In retail store, we control the environment. We control how you shop, we give you the experience. So it's a very, very, very different customer. But both of them I think, and I will give you some numbers, right? Our 35% sale today comes from online, and the rest is retail stores. There's a particular brand that we have, which does 45% sales online, and because it's a very different kind of product, you can, you will know you can just order it, you'll get it. You don't. In footwear, it's very difficult. Also, the conversion in stores is much higher than online. So there are a lot of differences, and I think that also makes it unique. Thank you.
Tell me, you just to add on to it on the online world, I remember reading somewhere you mentioned about the metaverse that you have been experimenting, which could be potentially the future of retail. Any insights on that?
I would say metaverse will be added online to what you're doing, right? We realize that, and just as a group, we operate 9 brands in India, and we're adding another 5, 6 more. But we operate on 17 e-commerce sites. One brand available on 4 sites, another brand available on 3 sites. We run our own website. Metaverse will be an addition to that. I think it's Metaverse 1.0. I've seen, we were looking at it. I think it will take time, but it is something to talk about today. It feels good. You have to be in it. I don't know what format. I think it's still a long way to go. Maybe another 5 years, 7 years, could be quicker than that. But Metaverse will be added sales to your current business. It's a new generation of customers who will create a community. When I spoke to somebody, they told it's a community. You create a community. You can be whoever you want to be in Metaverse. And actually, we had a company, I think where we had somebody talk on Metaverse, and they made us buy a 20,000 rupee dog on Metaverse. And I didn't ask, will the dog last forever? But you can buy a collar for a dog, and you can buy luxury products for your dog, and then you can sell your dog, and we are checking the price, and went up by $20 in 1 hour, right? So you can be who you are. You can be whoever you want to be in Metaverse. You can be Superman, you can be Batman, you can be whatever you want to be. Right? But you create a community. That community goes and shops, and you can link your Metaverse to your retail, to your online. And we are looking at that discussion. How do we let somebody in Metaverse say, okay, you buy something here, you can redeem it in the retail store, and the other way around. So your NFTs and all that, you can do a lot with Metaverse.
Thank you. Let me bring in Vasco, who's also got 2 decades of experience, comes in from Madrid. Last you were in Madrid, I believe, right? You've been with IKEA for almost 2 decades now. You would have seen the global landscape of retail. How different do you think the Indian landscape of retail is?
Thank you, Gautam. Before I answer to your question, if I'm allowed, just to say that it's a pleasure to be here. Last time I was in my peak India was in 2019. And you know what? It feels like the energy level this year, it's very high. And that's super good. I suppose that's, we have 2 tough years behind us. But I was also, this morning reading the newspaper, and you see the news that shopping malls in India, they are expect to grow for the next 5 years, compound rate of 30%. And then you can have the smile, you can have the energy, or that food stores this year will grow 20% in revenues. Wow. So I have decided that from now on, I'll start my day reading the Indian newspaper. I think that gives a much better mood coming from Europe. So very happy to be here, of course. I'd like just to say, so Inca Centers is a sister company of IKEA Retail. We belong to the same group, Inca Group. So IKEA is the retail company, and Inca Centers, we are a global operator and developer of shopping centers. We call them meeting places that are retail-led, anchored by IKEA store, always. And then we bring in other components, like, offices, hotel, leisure, entertainment, F&B, community spaces, so all these elements. So your question about, the transformation from, in these 20 years past, I'm not sure if you're saying from the retail perspective or from the real estate, I can elaborate on both. What I see from a retail perspective is that four things I think are very strong. Nowadays, retail is very much about partnerships and collaboration. A lot. Can give you an example. We have a meeting place in London, in Hammersmith, where we, together with IKEA Retail and H&M, we have opened a space where creators and designers from London area, they are showcasing their products. And that's a partnership, IKEA, H&M, in a platform which is our meeting place, physical meeting place.
So you incubate them till the time they could launch a specific product? Would you incubate them?
Yeah. So we give the stage for those designers to present their products. And it's curated, of course, with IKEA and H&M, people involved to really support them. So partnerships and collaborations, but you can refer to Adidas and Gucci partnership. How brands today, they are coming together. 20 years ago, no one would do this. They were protecting their brands. So that's one thing. Then the second thing is, of course, the level of engagement with customer. And that's where tech is supporting a lot. In-store, outside store, the level of engagement with the customer is today much different, in the retail landscape, how this is done. Then one thing that is very much close to our heart is how serious brands start to take, and retailers start to take the sustainability and circularity. And I'm saying this because for us, Incu Centers, that is the big thing. And how are we addressing this? We have our own circular concept in Sweden. So we are rolling out this, where we have a concept where we just bring circular concepts. So we are very serious, and I think retailers are also going that direction. And maybe finally, as in this retail landscape, what changed is the way that, of course, you embed the technology, which needs to be balanced with humanization of retail, of course. So I think there will be a balance that will come on the way. That's how I see for the retail changes in the past 20 years.
That's interesting. Let me bring in Rajneesh. Rajneesh, you've been experimenting with, I don't know if it's the right word, experiment, but you have something called the loyalty program for malls. We've had loyalty programs for brands, and Tushar can vouch for it, works very well. But the concept of loyalty programs for malls is to attract the brands or the footfalls?
I think it's a very new initiative for us. We just launched it around a month and a half back. We're just going through the teething problems that one has to make sure. So it's a very new initiative. The idea behind is that how to get more footfall into the retail store. So it's a complete partnership program where the specific offers made by the retail stores can be passed on to the consumers directly. So the more database that you have, your ability to reach out to consumer directly is far more. If you look at typically a small store, 1,000 square feet in a mall, will get 1.1% of the footfall. Loyalty program can give them some muscle power to reach out to another 99% of the footfall of the mall, which is not going into the store. So a person who is shopping at the center and not going to the store, is there some way I can offer some incentive for you to come to my store? And the idea is that. And we tried, we've seen a lot of softwares that have been in the market. We tried to make, and we felt that most of them have a lot of friction in enrolling people, in making them to enjoy the rewards and to earn the reward points. So we tried to make it frictionless, very small, 3 steps. We do not get into a lot of investigative mode. So a lot of work is done in the background by the systems and the computers, and we make it easier for the consumer to enjoy. So we tried to make it very simple, and we've seen some good results out of it. In next 6 to 7 weeks' time, we will come to know how it is spanning out.
While you are at it, Rajneesh, one more perspective, because omni-channel retail is something you've experimented also over the years, pre-pandemic, during the pandemic, and even now. Any learnings, any takeaways from, because as a mall owner, while of course you also have a retail brand of your own, but as a mall owner, how does it work versus a retailer, how would it work differently?
To start with, my belief is that there has to be some presence on that channel for a mall to connect with consumer. If consumer sitting at home in my neighborhood is browsing through mobile, can I be part of that lifestyle of that consumer in some manner? That's the starting point. When we tried it first time 6 years back, I think we were way ahead of time. A lot of retailers that time were not so technically advanced. They themselves were not having one window view of inventory, and they could not connect with us. So, and I think after trying it for 2 years, we had to shut it down because we couldn't showcase a lot. But from a consumer perspective, we did see every single time we went out, marketed, and we did some kind of communication around it. We saw orders coming in, and we were able to generate that. I think the team is working very hard to reinitiate it, and in another 6-8 months' time, hopefully we should be launching it again. And at this time, my experience is when I'm talking to retailers, because all of them already, or a very large chunk of them, are already having omni-channel. So they have invested over the last 6 years a lot into the technology to have a better view of their own inventory, not only as one window, but a window which is segregated store by store and POS by POS. So seeing that they are already advanced they have done advanced investments in technology, I see the integration will be far more easier this time. And let's hope that when we launch, we are able to see some good results out of it.
Digressing from that, let me bring in Mr. Bansal. Mr. Bansal, you've seen the Vegas Mall run successful retail as a space. We see you focusing on integrated developments, wherein from a concept of neighborhood malls, it's how you work and how you shop are in the same neighborhood or in the same development. Some perspective on that, some insights. What has been your learning on that space?
For integrated development.
Integrated development.
Hello, good evening, everyone. So what we have observed that in physical mall, the footfall, or you can say the people coming to the mall on weekdays and weekends has a big difference. So in our Vegas mall even, the footfall on weekends is say 50,000 on Saturday, Sunday. And on weekdays it is around 30,000. So what's the problem is that if you are creating infrastructure for 50,000 people, you need car parking for 50,000 people, you need air conditioning for 50,000 people, and all the services like electricity, like STP, generator, everything for 50,000 people. And what happens finally, if you are creating infrastructure for Saturday and Sunday, and you are keeping them idle on Monday to Friday, the cost of CAM, the cost of, you can say, per square feet is very high, and you are not utilizing that infrastructure fully. So what we have observed in Vegas Mall, we introduced a office space of around 25 to 30% of the retail space. So it complemented the retail very well. So like we have around 600,000 square feet of retail, and we are having around 5,000 plus space for parking. The office we introduced is around 200,000 square feet. So the Monday to Friday, our car parking is around 2,500 and for the retail, and Saturday, Sundays is 5,000. The 250,000 square feet of office, around car parking requirement is say around 2,000 cars. So the Monday to Friday, the car parking is being utilized by retail 2,500 and 2,000 by office goers, office users. So the entire infrastructure is fully utilized for Monday to Friday, and Saturday, Sunday it is fully utilized by the retail. Accordingly, all services like air conditioning, I have to install air conditioning for the most peak time. Similarly, the STP, the garbage collection, the electricity, the DG, all services I have to install for my peak load. But in the integrated development, if I integrate or mix land around 25 to 30% with the office, that my infrastructure utilization is very good. Resulting, the CAM goes down, the utilization of the space is very good, and it helps a lot. In addition to that, if I have 200,000 square feet of office, around say 2,000 people are working in the office building also. Those 2,000 while going to home, while coming to office, they use our F&B space in the mall. They do party there. They do buy shopping like they formal wear, the Arrow shirt or Louis Philippe shirt, the sales is better. Even the laptops, the mobile shops, the laptop bags. So the little more, you can say they shop also. It's a double advantage. So the space is utilized and the shoppers are also increased. Similarly, we also add, now we are adding 2 hotels also. So by the adding 2 hotels, the hotel is utilizing normally the infrastructure in the night time only. So again, the utilization of all infrastructure is very good if we add some hotel also. And the people residing in the hotel, they also shop in the mall. They also prefer to watch movie in the mall, and they shop also. You can say F&B service also they use. So it's a good integrated development, and use of infrastructure as well as use of other services is very good. Instead of a mall where we have only retail.
Let me bring in Vasco again. Vasco, India is very under-penetrated when it comes to retail per person, retail per GDP, compared to even other Southeast Asian markets like, say, Indonesia and Japan and others, Singapore. And then again, if you see the concepts of a strip mall, concepts of a luxury, a neighborhood mall, those concepts don't exist. But there is a significant rising middle class, which means the consumption story is definitely here to stay. What's your view? Is it ready to absorb that kind of a supply? Like you said, the CAGR of 29% that you read in the newspaper today. Will India be able to absorb that 55, 60 million square feet of supply? What's been your perspective? Because Inca has committed significant capital into the country.
Yes.
For Vasco, sir, sorry.
Thank you, Gautam. Well, it's a tough question. We put a question about the Indian market when I'm surrounded with people that know much better the Indian market than I do. I don't have any, intention to, to know more. But what I can tell you is that, of course, for us, for Inca Centers, we see the product we have. We see the vision we have. We looked at the marketing, Indian market, and we see, well, there is a fit. There is a fit. And why there is a fit? As I said, we don't develop shopping centers. We call meeting places. We want to be part of the community. We want to develop vibrant neighborhoods that, yes, have retail, but bring also other components and are blended into the community, engaging with the community. It's also about offering the spaces to the community. It's also about making leisure more accessible. Is supporting people in what is their needs and aspirations. So for us, it's not just about bringing an offer of retail whatsoever. It's much more than that. There are a dimension of bringing value to the people and the communities. And we aspire, of course, to do this, to deliver this vision to the many people. And of course, we are in markets that the many people is there. So we believe that our concept, like the one we are now developing in Gurugram, which describes what I just said, I think there is a place for these projects, right? There is a place for these projects. So we are very confident that our idea of meeting places, of creating these community hubs, will be accepted by the market. That's the way I can answer to your question.
No, that's a fair perspective. Let me bring in the only retailer on the panel. What's your expectations from these landlords of the future who are coming in the country and the ones who are expanding their footprint to cater to your need?
So I won't say our need, I would say customer needs, right? I tell my team, we don't pay your salary, the customer does. And I think the landlords or the retailers, all of us need to understand the customer is paying your and my salary. The day they come in and shop, that's how everybody gets their rent and everybody gets their salary. So that's something the landlords and retailers have to remember. Partnership is very important. The other thing I tell everybody, all the landlords or people who are making malls is please understand that partnership is important. You are the hardware, we are the software. You don't only need us. Sometimes I tell them, bring these people in your mall because we need the right customer mix for the mall. Customer has to come and say, these are the right retailers in the mall that will make it successful. We should not only look at how much rental somebody is paying, but we should look at how many customers they will bring in and what value they'll add to the mall so they can shop around around across all the brands. So you have to have a mix of all the brands. I tell people that when a female or a male go in a mall, they're not only looking for fashion or accessories, they are looking for fashion, accessories, food. So they are looking at cosmetics, full variety. And you have to figure that out what they want. A lot of our customers go from our brand to another brand to another brand. Right? They will shop in our brands, they'll buy footwear, they'll buy lingerie, they'll buy fashion. That's how we want the customer to come in. So that's what, and we all need to work as a partner.
Rajneesh, the innovation that you have been doing in your malls in terms of, one is of course the zoning, but the reutilization of spaces, more and more spaces are being used as experience centers. So one is that working to retain the brands within the mall? Is it working to attract the brands basis the consumers that you've been catering to in that neighborhood?
So our recent changeover in Hyderabad has worked very well for us. So when we started in 2009, we literally came out of financial crisis and we had a struggle to find fill in the mall. It took us a little longer than what we would have otherwise desired. To the journey of last 13 years, and last 2-3 years we have been making big changes in the mall. One, we have been correcting the sizes. We were, at one time when we started the mall, we were 79 or 80% anchor. Today we have brought it down to 66%. We made a lot of changes and we made circulation changes. We also did renovation. When we did renovation of the entire property, we said we need to position ourselves. Looking at the competition coming around us, we need to go premium. We need to become a premium center. And in that effort, I think a lot of hard work went into deciding who we want to retain, who we have to churn, and how do we present our mall. So last 3 years, we have been very sharply focused on how we are communicating to the consumer, what kind of events we are doing, what kind of decors we are doing. And there is a very strict guideline around it, so that consumer sees this regularly in what certain light and certain positioning. And the result of that is that, we lost 2 years because while we were doing all this, pandemic happened and we were, but post-pandemic, YTD this year, this financial year, that shopping mall is 65% higher in consumption over pre-pandemic. So if I look at FY 19-20 and versus what I am consuming today or the sales that are happening is 65%. I think we all talk about across India growth 15, 20, 25%, 30%. I think this center in country has seen the highest growth. And I don't have data to say with confidence, but my feeling is I don't see any other center in the country which has grown 60, 65% over pre-pandemic. And all those changes has definitely helped us in doing that.
That's interesting because I was talking to Mr. Bansal earlier, and you mentioned that you are making the sizes larger and removing the doors to give a seamless experience. I mean, they're right sizing to reduce the anchors, but you're going the other way around. Is it a function of how the consumer behaves in different markets, a North versus a Western India or a South Indian market?
No, I think we are on the same page. They are reducing anchor space to add vanilla more and to change the circulation also. What we did, after the pandemic, we observed that the corona will come and corona will go, but the hygiene will remain forever. People are not now liking to touch the, you can say, door handles, and they want bigger corridors, bigger volumes, big nice washrooms. So what we are doing now, we have just removed the entire door of the entire mall. There is no door in the entire mall. The result is much better now. It's a seamless experience. You can enter into any shop, and if you like one product, and then you can enter into the neighbor shop, and you can go to the anywhere shop. There is no need to open handle every time. There is no need to, you can say, touch the things. So that's experience goes well, and it is nothing to do with the pandemic now. It's a normal.
But you did mention something about the air quality program which is helping you.
So that's the next one. So what I was mentioning earlier, that we had a very good experience with the mixed lane use. So considering that experience, we are now coming up with another mall in Mohali, that's CP67. In the same mall also, we are coming with the retail as well as the office building, and you can say the hotel also. So the entire thing will remain same, complement to each other. And the air quality index, that's the biggest problem of Delhi city, basically. Bombay, I don't think it's so much of a problem. In Delhi, particularly in the month of November, December, and you can say January, February, 4 months of the winter, there's a big pollution there, and the air quality index goes to around, sometimes it touches 500 plus, 500, 600 also. So what happens of that air quality index, people avoid going to the malls. They try to be more in closed door environment. So what we are coming now, we are coming with a luxury mall in North Delhi, where we have a very good affluent catchment. So in that mall, the entire air conditioning is designed in such a way, the air quality index will always be less than 100 for the entire year. So for that particular 4 months, if you're residing in Delhi, you will love to go to that mall where the air quality index is much better. You'll try to spend your entire weekend there. And particularly the couples which have young kids, they always try to, their kids should be grown up in a healthy environment. So that's the things which are coming in the new malls. So we are expecting that it will give a good response also.
No, thank you. I think we're almost up in time, but I had this one question which I will have probably Tushar answer, and maybe any one of you can also take up. That, you do spend a lot of time on the behavioral science on age group of consumers who come in to shop your brands, or even in the malls that you're building, or the integrated developments. How would you cater to this Gen Z where the brand loyalty or attention span is limited, or even the Gen Alpha which is going to enter the world in a decade from now? I don't think they are loyal. I don't think they have the attention span to. What would be your strategy or thoughts around that?
So, the brand, the new age consumer, the younger kids are looking for brands that they can connect to. Can I connect to the brand? Is the brand inclusive? Is the brand, do they have a social cause? Are they vegan? Do they believe in a cause? So I think a lot of younger generation is looking at that. Say, is this brand stand for something? They are not only looking at the product, they are looking at the people behind the product. Are you making it in factories where you're paying fair salaries? Are you taking care of the environment? Are you taking care of your people? Are you fair? I think this is what the consumer is looking for. Your product is important, but they are saying, oh, there are 5 of these brands with the same product. I will buy from a brand which I can connect to.
Rajneesh, any perspective on that? And Vasco, maybe one after that.
From my business perspective, I love the Airtel ad. Har ek friend zaruri hota hai. When you're looking at 1 million people coming into the mall, I really can't say Gen Z, Gen Alpha. I need everyone in my neighborhood. So for us, challenge is how do you become so homogeneous that you connect with every age group, every income strata? Because you're not looking at a very small consumer target audience. You're looking at an entire neighborhood coming into you. So for us, the challenge is how you become friendly with everyone.
Very interesting. Vasco, some global leasing strategy on that from an India perspective, because that's the largest population here.
Yes, sure. I think that said very important words. Engaging, hyper-localization. The sustainability, community inclusion, the involvement, being purpose-led. Retailers or developers, if you call it like that. I think this is super important. This is what people are looking for. And that's exactly where we believe that we can play this role in building these community hubs that address these needs and these desires from these generations. Absolutely.
Very interesting. So basically the commitment towards the environment, the sustainability angles, and like you said, fairness is a very significant. So I think we are up on time, and I just want to thank you all for an insightful conversation around this. Sorry to have cornered you with the only retailer, unfortunately, to run away, but thank you for your insights on that.